becomes more efficient. They look for areas where they could improve, look for areas where they can make cuts. The government does the exact opposite. They just keep spending. They don't look for the efficiencies, and this is where we run into trouble.
We've got Christopher Markowski with us today, Watchdog on Wall Street, with us back. And in the new year, we have all sorts of different things going on. Where do you see, as far as this Trayvon Martin debacle and all the craziness going on out there, what is that going to affect the financial institutions around the country? And is that going to have much of an impact, or is that going to be a story that once this is over with for the next couple of weeks, it'll just go by?
Well, I don't think, first and foremost, I don't think it's going to be over with in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I don't think it really is going to have much effect on the financial markets at all, aside from the fact that, you know, the media is not going to pay attention to major stories. I mean, for instance, today there was a march in Washington, D.C. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people showed up against the immigration bill, yet you probably won't hear a darn thing about it. You'll hear about a rally, you know, somewhere where 300-400 people got together to protest the Trayvon Martin ruling, and they'll talk about that instead. The mainstream media has become it's an engineer of programs. They want to. They're creating. I know people remember this. I mean, I'm showing my age to some degree. When I was growing up, there was only 3-4 stations, maybe 5 on TV, and the networks would come out with these miniseries that everyone would watch. To be the Thornbirds or something like that they would follow.
There you go.
That's basically what this Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman case is. It's an opportunity to them to take a story and run with it, form a narrative, force the issue. You know, you got the ruling that has come down, but you know what? They're hoping for Holder to file a civil rights case, because then you got the sequel. So you got the sequel to the first case. And the mainstream media, I honestly really do believe that it's a huge downfall. It's been a huge detriment to our country. There's been a couple things, well, there's many things, one of which has been 24-hour news networks. The original formula was great. CNN headline news way back when, half an hour, you'd get your news, you'd walk away. Now take a look at the absolute albatross that is CNN headline news with Nancy Grace and the crap that goes on. Fox News, MSNBC, all of them are there to obviously get higher ratings. It's not about journalistic integrity. If that was the case, why in the world are they spending the entire day covering one court case in Sanford, Florida? It's pathetic. The other things, too, is allowing this to happen by putting cameras into courtrooms. That was just stupid, and we really need to pull back from that. It's almost like we are defiling like a sacred temple of ours. You know, I long for the days of, what was his name there? Was it Judge Chamberlain from My Cousin Vinny? My Cousin Vinny, who didn't allow any nonsense going on in his courtroom. We need more of those guys around.
We've got the Watchdog on Wall Street, Christopher Markowski, with us today. What do you make of this immigration bill? I know you mentioned that there is a few marches going on that the media largely is ignoring. What do you make of the immigration bill, my friend?
They talk about amnesty. It's not just amnesty for people that want to get into the country. And listen, I am 110% pro-immigrant. I think immigration has made this country great and strong. And I've always said, you know what? We had a system that worked. Why not go back, reopen Ellis Island? You know, why does it have to be a museum any longer? Let's reopen it. You know, put one in Texas, put one in Florida, put one in California, Arizona, wherever you want to, and let's bring people into the country that want to become Americans.
Oh, yeah.
I have no problem with that, but we have no assimilation here anymore. You come to this country, you have these little subsects and subcultures. Some of our highest rated television shows are all Spanish. You know, in order to have a country, you have to have a common language. I mean, you don't want to balkanize the place. Have people in that want to become Americans. That's great. But, you know, what we're doing here, this is just a giveaway. Honestly, people don't even recognize it to big business. And most certainly agribusiness. You know, we don't need a wall at the border. I think it's one of the dumbest ideas going. You know, let's go build a huge fence and let's put a moat in it with piranhas and alligators. It's not going to do anything. You could stop it very simply by just enforcing the fact that, you know what, if you don't have a social security number, if you don't have a right to work here in the country, you don't get a job. I mean, for crying out loud, we've got a government that can spy on every single phone call of ours. They can listen to every single email. They know what we're watching on TV. But you mean to tell me they can't come up with a computer program to let employers know whether or not somebody's legal or not? I could do that on my laptop that I'm talking into right now. They just don't want to do it, and that's the issue. This is you know, you got to take a look at this in a different way. we got rid of slavery years ago, but you know what? The way that the system is set up today, and most certainly in agribusiness here in this country, is not far off.
Yeah. It is. Speaking of agribusiness, I wanted to get your thoughts on Monsanto. What do you make of Monsanto? There's a lot of people that are up in arms over them. There's a lot of people that say, hey, this is a good idea. There's genetically modified food. Where do you come down on this?
Well, I understand the concerns in regards to most certainly genetically modified foods that the plants themselves cannot reproduce. Whereas, the only way you're going to be able to actually go out and get, and regrow a crop is to buy your seeds from one company. I mean, pretty much life works where, hey, you know what? Plant dies next year, plant grows again. The seeds, spread. But I also, understand the fact that in certain areas we have, certain food problems and whatnot, where places like Africa, whatnot, they need to get more food out to various different people. I mean, our entire farming system, agricultural, system here in the United States is absurd to me. And I'm not one to quote a communist, but Fidel Castro said, "I can't think of anything as so dumb as putting food into automobiles." We've got an ethanol policy that's just, it's bad for the environment. It's horrible for the environment. There's so many things that we could be doing differently. I mean, you take a look at sugar here in this country. You got this rich family here in Florida that controls sugar. And, the reason why we have corn syrup in all of our sodas and all of our various different things is because sugar is too expensive, because this one family in Florida doesn't allow any sugar to be imported. Yeah. Ethanol doesn't work, but hey, sugar ethanol does work, as it shows in Brazil. We've got so many crony interests that are, so far up the chain in government that it's very difficult to get any type of change going.
We've got Christopher Markowski, the Watchdog on Wall Street, with us today here on the big broadcast. As we wrap up here with you, my friend, what are some of the big news stories people should be watching for as we head into the last of the summer months here?
Well, I mean, what I'm watching and paying attention to is a lot different than what the mainstream media is putting out there. It's still they're gonna run with this Zimmerman trial as long as they possibly can. I really
very
think
much
people,
so.
Yeah, people really need to pay attention to. You're going to try the immigration debate. You're going to also have to, start paying attention to some of those scandals, the IRS scandal, Benghazi, these various different things that unfortunately have gone away from the mainstream press, but they haven't gone away. They haven't been solved or rectified by any stretch of the imagination. You're going to also have to pay attention to what's going on in the Middle East, because that's beyond disaster. I find it extraordinary that Hillary Clinton is conventional wisdom. She's the greatest Secretary of State of all time, and how? Why? I mean, are you paying attention to what's going on in the world and what a mess the world is at this point? She's a great Secretary of State. I mean, who's running the show here? I mean, Egypt's falling apart. John Kerry's on his yacht. I mean, this is who's running the country. Yeah. Be nice to get some adults in charge.
Now, a couple quick things that you brought up there that I want to get your thoughts on before we go is the Benghazi situation. It hasn't been solved, as you pointed out. Where do you see this going?
It hasn't been solved because, it's not going to be solved.
Yeah.
In the same sense, you have the interesting story in regards to the IRS scandal and the fact that, the FBI is going to start looking into that. They're going to start looking into it and, finding out what's going on. They're not going to look into it because all the administration is going to do is cite executive privilege, and they're out of business. I mean, it's over. They can't go anywhere really with it. I mean, ICE is going to try to do what he can to try to dig up in regards to Benghazi. But, the way that they're going to run this, they're going to extend it out. People have lost attention, lost their attention spans out there, not paying attention to it anymore. So, it's going to lose its weight. And that's the reality.
Now, before we let you go, Chris, the IRS scandal was a big deal there for a while, and now it's gone away. What do you make of this?
Well, I hope it doesn't go away. I still talk about it on my program. I'm writing about it right now and how god awful this is. I mean, there's always been a bit of a, for lack of a better word, wink, wink, nod, nod that the IRS can be used for various different purposes. I mean, for crying out loud, Rush Limbaugh is getting audited every single year. But the difference is this is the first time that I can cite or remember where the IRS is actually targeting citizens.
Yeah.
Not elites. I mean, yeah, okay, your government guys are going to audit government guys. It's going to be used against various different elitists. That's one thing, and it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But now it's being used to target average Americans going out there looking to assemble, looking to form their own groups. Very, very frightening stuff.
Well, Christopher Markowski's been our guest today. Check out Watchdog on Wall Street. What is the best spot to find you on the internet, sir?
You named it. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com is a place you need to get to.
Well, Christopher, thanks for doing this. Thanks for hanging out with us. I think this went well. Hopefully we can get you back for more Skype interviews and get you back on the radio as well. Thanks for doing this, my friend.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Definitely. Well, have yourself a wonderful day, sir.
You got it.
Appreciate it. Christopher Markowski with us today. And that is that. Check out JiggyJaguar.com for more information.